I'm going to call this meeting to order. Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We will now read our land acknowledgement by Dr. Caresses.
The Buffalo City School District respectfully acknowledges the Haudenosaunee Confederacy on whose ancestral territory our schools were built. We honor and pay tribute to the indigenous ancestors of the land we use. We acknowledge the historic intergenerational traumas that have endured and offer hope and opportunities for healing and reconciliation as we go forward together. One key Haudenosaunee principle is to live in peace and harmony with each other and the natural world. All life should be respected and cared for because what happens to one living thing affects all living things. We are grateful for the abundant natural resources in this land of the Haudenosaunee people and for all who work to protect these resources. We acknowledge the Haudenosaunee people as the past, present, and future caretakers of this land and water, and we are grateful for the opportunity to live, work, and educate our children on this ancestral land.
Thank you, Dr. Kay. I will be reading the guardrails for the Board of Education. As the Buffalo Board of Education has committed to becoming a board focused on improving student outcomes, we recognize that our adult behaviors must change to uphold this commitment. As we have given the superintendent specific guardrails that protect the values of our community, we understand that the need to establish guardrails for our behavior as a board. The board shall operate within the board's role as defined in board policy number 1110-1310 and the board's current operating procedures, specifically as defined in board policy number 1311-6110. The board, either collectively or through the actions of individual board members, number one, guardrail, shall not invest less than 50% of its minutes each month into monitoring student outcome goals. Guardrail 2, shall not perform or appear to perform any of the responsibilities delegated to the superintendent. Guardrail 3, shall not violate any board-adopted policy or district procedure. And lastly, guardrail 4, shall not behave in a manner that would violate the student code of conduct. We don't have any board recognitions at this time. Okay. So before I acknowledge the speakers, the board held an executive session to address, this is April 9th, 2025, to discuss, number one, a proposed settlement agreement regarding litigation brought in State Supreme Court under index number 2009-011969. Number two, matters related to the appointment, employment, and potential discipline and or dismissal of specific district employees. And number three, for the purpose of receiving legal advice. No official action was taken. Thank you, ma'am. So at this time, the board welcomes speakers who have signed up to speak at tonight's meeting. Please be reminded that all speakers' remarks must be limited to 3 minutes or less. We ask that speakers be mindful that this is a business meeting, open to the public and televised locally. Attendees and viewers include persons from throughout Western New York, including children. The board asks that speakers conduct themselves professionally and that their comments remain civil and courteous, bearing in mind that they will be heard by people of all ages. If you have printed information to share with us, please do not approach the board table. Provide your information to the district clerk, who will make sure we receive it. This is an opportunity for Buffalo's residents to address the BBOE about issues that serve the public's interests and district mission. And the board asks that speakers demonstrate appropriate decorum. So, our first speaker, help me, Lisa. Okay. So our first speaker is Robert Jenkins, President, Sub Teacher Union, regarding promotions for subs. Hello, Mr. Jenkins.
Good evening, Board of Education members and Superintendent Williams. On March 19, 2025, we all heard from many of our educational professionals that spoke of the many needs of all our students. Yes, academics is at the top of the list because we are educators first, but we take on many roles throughout each and every day. We are counselors, social workers, guidance counselors, and even parents. So, trying to keep our students on point regarding education, which is the only thing in life that they will get for free. A lot of the students come to school to socialize with their friends. Unfortunately, education is secondary. I know there's a list of accomplishments in the immediate future. Whether the budget will provide much of the needed financial support to accommodate the good goals needed to provide for our students, our students, or something less meaningful will take priority. I am looking forward to the next school year when we eliminate cell phones during the school day, which I believe will enhance students' achievements, motivation, getting back to the crux of education, giving students an opportunity to focus on what matters most, greater success in academic, educational achievements. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jenkins. Our next speaker is Paul Buchanan, Concerned Citizen, Superintendent Search.
Good evening. We are Paul and Mary Buchanan, my wife, proud parents of 2 Buffalo School graduates. My co-author, Marian Canedo, is traveling and unable to be here this evening, but sends her regards. We want to thank you for the public service that you put in. I know the many hours that you spend at this job. Like each of you, I've carried nominating petitions and asked citizens to vote for me so I could sit at that table. And, Madam President, like you, I've conducted a national search for a new superintendent. And we selected, the community did, Marian Canedo. This board, the city, the state, together with support from across the political and ideological spectrum, created the Joint Schools Construction Board. This brought $1 billion to the Buffalo School District to modernize our school buildings and enhance our technology. Our hearts, Marian and mine and Mary's, remain with the wonderful and diverse members of the Buffalo Public School population. As you conduct your search for a new superintendent, there are many factors to consider and points of view to hear. We wholeheartedly promote that the board select a superintendent that fully supports in heart and deed Board Policy 7552, Student Gender Identity. We applaud the district for having a policy that is a national model and promotes a safe and supportive learning environment for all of our children. That policy states in pertinent part, all students need a safe and supportive educational environment to progress academically and developmentally. The district is committed to fostering a safe learning environment for all students, free from discrimination and harassment on the basis of sex, gender, gender identity, gender nonconformity, and gender expression. The superintendent and board must continue to support transgender students, staff, teachers, and employees that this policy supports. Transgender people have always been with us, and we should celebrate them in the richness they bring to life. All children should be nurtured and developed into thoughtful, educated, and fulfilled people. The same community support and spirit that made the Joint Schools Construction Board a resounding success is needed now. In our schools, we teach the history about the Holocaust, American slavery, Native Americans. Many of us think that we would have had the courage to give refuge to Anne Frank, to be a conductor on the Underground Railroad, and to honor Indian treaties. Those moments in history are with us today. We exhort this board and the entire Buffalo community to rise to the challenge and courageously support the transgender community of Buffalo and the wonderful, diverse population of the Buffalo Public Schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Buchanan. Our next speaker is Tony Cook, a parent, regarding lack of communication from district concerning her son.
Hi, my name is Tony Cook. I am the parent of Mason Peters, a third grader at Southside Elementary. I am here today to express my concern for my child's safety in school. I have tried to reach out multiple times and have zero communication. Ashley, my family peer advocate, has also reached out to the principal and superintendent to set a meeting to discuss concerns for my child, and no one has followed through. Last year, my son received not one, but two concussions in school within 1 month time. The student came to help my son, not a teacher. Then the after-school teacher called me, said my son had a headache and he had an ice pack. I took my son to urgent care where he was diagnosed with a concussion. Mason had the weekend to recover. He dealt with being sore and mild headaches. I reached out to school on Monday and was simply told what I thought happened was not what happened and no other details on the findings. Not even a month later, my son was tying his shoe at the top of the stairs where a student pushed him down the stairs, causing him to have a second concussion while still recovering from this first concussion. I was never called by school to be informed and only found out when I picked my son up from school. I then took him to the doctor, where we also had to follow up with neurology due to concussions, where my son now takes 2 medicines every single day. Turn back to this year, my son was on the school bus and he was smacked in the face by another student. When I reached out to school, there was nothing done about it. The next day, somebody threatened to shoot up my house. And I called the cops, and we were told that it's a school problem. I call school, I speak to the student resource officer, who advises me that they will conduct an investigation. I have police reports stating the student who said this admitted to it, and nothing's done. He doesn't get to ride the after-school bus. So now I have to drive my son back and forth to school so that he's safe to get to school. The lack of communication is so hard, and I just want help.
Thank you, Ms. Cook. Your concern is noted, and the superintendent will respond to you. Just bear with us. All right, our next speaker is Hassan Asif, a student.
Hassan wasn't able to make it.
Okay, thank you. What about Parban Kundu, a student? There he is, on badminton.
Hello, everyone. I'm Harbon, a sophomore from City Honors 195, and I'd like to highlight the impact of badminton would have on students on the school community. There are an incredible amount of students interested in badminton, many of which aren't involved in any other school sport just because it doesn't feel right for them. Badminton opens the door for students who have never felt comfortable or interested in traditional sports that our district provides. Adding badminton would bring inclusivity to those who want to take on sports, but turn away from our current options. Beyond just playing, badminton helps bring people come together. It increases interactions across different grade levels and backgrounds, helping to build a stronger and more connected school community. It creates a space where everyone can feel included and a part of something. It's also incredibly accessible. You don't need to be a trained athlete to pick up a racket and join a game. Badminton comes with both inexperienced and experienced players. That kind of inclusivity is exactly what we need in our school district and should be promoting it because it gives more opportunities for students. More students participating in any kind of physical activity leads to more active, healthier school environments. It also helps their chances at further education due to college universities encouraging hobbies for college applications and other things. These overall benefits help these kids' health, life, and future, and that's what schools should be proud to promote. Badminton is one of the safest sports to offer, with minimal contact and low risk of injury. It gives students a way to stay active without putting their health at serious risk. That's a win for both students and schools. At my school, my friends and teachers all support the idea of a badminton team, time and time again. My friends have wished everyone and me good luck just because of how important of a sport badminton is to them. Look around us. All these students from different schools are here to support us. The fact that we came here are speaking for this cause truly shows how much we care about the sport. And as a community, we are working together to support each other for this cause just because we want it. We hope you'll consider supporting this effort and give BPS students a chance to experience all that badminton has to offer. Thank you.
Thank you. We love to see our young people come to the podium with their voice. Okay, our next speaker is another student, Mr. Arnab. I don't want to mess up the pronunciation of your first name. Can you tell us once you get to the mic?
Ornab. Good evening, everyone. My name is Zohaib, and I'm speaking on behalf of the Badminton Club at City Honors School to advocate for badminton becoming an official sport at the BPS district. So my first point was that badminton is one of the most accessible sports out there. Unlike many traditional sports that require large fields or courts, badminton can be played anywhere. It can be played almost anywhere with minimal space, indoors or outdoors, which means that schools with limited space can still offer it to our students, whether it's in a gym, a park, or even in like a hallway after school. So it's incredibly flexible. Another one of my points is that Buffalo winters can be really long and cold, which makes many outdoor sports inaccessible during those months. But badminton can be played indoors, allowing like a consistent athletic outlet throughout the year for students who want to participate in the sport. It's also one of the most beginner-friendly sports. You don't need expensive training or private coaching to get started. The rules are simple and most people can learn within a few minutes, which makes the simplicity makes it perfect for students who wants to try a new sport or just become more athletic in general. Physically, it's very inclusive. You don't need to be tall, muscular, or extremely fast to compete in the sport. It's a low-impact sport that students of all athletic abilities can participate and enjoy. Looking at it from a school district perspective, it's also very affordable. All it takes is a few rackets and a shuttlecock to get started. Compared to other sports that require expensive gear, uniforms, or large teams, badminton is a very budget-friendly option for student schools. So all you really need is a friend, a few rackets, and a shuttlecock to get started. So with all these benefits, accessibility, year-round playability, simplicity, inclusivity, and low cost, we believe would be a very smart and practical choice for our district sports programs. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Well, you're educating me on that badminton, okay?
Oh, and we also had a petition from our school with over 100 signatures that we started like a few days ago.
All right. There you go. Another student, Anja. She's going to also talk about badminton.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board. My name is Anya Bita, and I'm a senior at Frederick Law Olmsted. I'm here today to talk about the demand for badminton as a club sport in our school district. At my school, we want to play badminton outside of the allotted 3 gym days. We already started a badminton club in our school, but we are hoping to expand. At our first meeting, we had over 50 people show up to play. We would enjoy the competition and community that comes with playing against other schools. There are many students who are interested in badminton who aren't interested in other current sports offerings. I am one of them. I'm not interested in the current sports at my school, but I would like to become more physically active. With badminton, there's a huge opportunity for mixed play, while many other sports are separated by gender. This fosters a stronger community. Badminton is easily accessible for new players, and it doesn't require much equipment. This gives it a low barrier to entry and a low injury rate compared to other sports. Badminton is a lifetime sport and appeals to many of our new students from other countries. It is particularly popular among a growing demographic in Buffalo, such as Bengali students. Racket sports are also proven to lengthen lifespans by 6 years on average. Screens are also a major distraction for our students nowadays, and this club would permit kids more time away from their screens for a couple of hours a week to participate in a club that is beneficial for their mental and physical health. This badminton club would provide a greater community, more physical activity, less screen time, minimal expense, and this is a wonderful opportunity to add a club sport to the Buffalo schools system. Thank you for your time, your consideration, and the opportunity to speak today.
All right, thank you. Now, these are our students in the Buffalo Public Schools expressing themselves about a sport that this board will definitely consider. Thank you. Next speaker is Lisa Marie Adorno. She's a parent. Importance of bilingual education. Is Lisa Marie here? Liz Marie, I'm sorry.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm from School 33. I'm a parent engagement liaison there. I got 6 kids. All my kids go to School 33, and today I want to talk about the importance that is for me to be bilingual, to my kids never forget about my culture, where we come from. It be amazing to come to the United States and see how my kids learn English, but at the same time, see how my kids never forget about Spanish too, and be able to be bilingual. It be open a lot of doors to my kids, not only speak English in this country, speak Spanish too. When my daughter, she's married Isla Racuente. She work now in the same school, see her in pre-K through, she graduated for this school for performing art, and now she's working back to School 33 assistant teacher, helping students when incapacity. Like,
I would just like to add that me coming in as a Spanish speaker first, as it being my first language, it helped me to not also just learn English as well, but it helped me get comfortable. It helped me to be able to see things a different way and learn differently. So Spanish really helped me just keep my language. Even though I was learning it at home, there's certain things that you don't learn at home that you are learning in school with grammar, learning English and all that stuff. So it has been very impactful for me to learn English and Spanish in school. So.
And for me, it's important my daughter speak English because I learn for her. In my house, I don't even have to go to school. She was my teacher, and I learned English just because of my kids. They always tell me, Mom, it's not like that, it's like this. And I was like, okay, thank you. And they still speak Spanish, and I think that's something that we all should be grateful. We brothers and sisters and got eyes. So language, it should not be impact for nobody. Thank you for your opportunity.
Thank you for that. And thank you, daughter, for coming back to share. Next speaker is Tim Monreal, parent, inequity in bilingual education.
All right, y'all. First of all, my kid has had Miss L, and she is the best. So you heard from the best. Yeah, let's give it up for her, right? Miss Adorno is also freaking awesome. All right, anyways, buenas noches a todos. First, I would like to thank the board for their service to public education. Public education is something I hold in the highest of regard. It's a vital component to a democracy, which we know right now we must fight to defend. My name is Dr. Tim Monreal. I'm a nationally recognized education scholar, even in hoodies, they still give us that stuff. But today I come to a board as a parent of 2 daughters at School 33. Mejita 3 will be there in the fall. We're really excited about that. I expressed my concerns in a letter emailed to the board on March 13th. I could not attend that meeting because, ironically, I was visiting a bilingual community school named Aventura in Nashville, Tennessee. What I saw at that school was simply amazing. It was not because the teachers worked harder than ours. That's not possible. It was not because the administrative team found more resources. Once again, that would not be possible. It was because the school had the absolute support of all stakeholders. They had 2 fully bilingual or multilingual teachers in each classroom. Each class had multilingual aides or staff, of which many were getting specific funding to become classroom teachers. The school identified parents and community members who would then soon start as aides and then progress through the pipeline to be community teachers. The teachers worked together, attended PDs, and were given time and financial support to develop a linguistically appropriate, rigorous, project-based learning curriculum. For the few monolingual English members of the school, they were given time and professional development to learn the language. Every kid was smiling. This is what's possible. Yet I stand here today to support the hardworking teachers and the absolutely fantastic school community that I'm humbled to send my kids to every day. And I say, right, that the board listen to the teachers behind me, to listen to what they say our kids need and deserve. I have seen the administration, staff, and faculty of School 33 work tirelessly to make up for such injustices by creating and buying their own resources, partnering with community organizations, and eliciting the help of universities and experts, often with minimal support from district officials. The efforts, while commendable, cause extensive workload inequities that often disproportionately fall on women and women of color, something that my own research has extensively proven. And more importantly, it can't replicate the structural support from district staff and experts. In closing, I'm fiercely committed to the Bilingual Center, and I urge us all to listen to these teachers to make the school, the community, and all of those just one of the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Morrell. Our next speaker is Claudine Picado, teacher, bilingual education.
Hello. My apologies for my voice, first of all. Gracias por reunirse con nosotros la semana pasada, señora Superintendente. Agradecemos su tiempo y dedicación a nuestra escuela. Sin embargo, hay mucho más que discutir y me encantaría tener la oportunidad de continuar nuestra conversación y asegurarnos de que hay un apoyo continuo para nuestros estudiantes en el Centro Bilingüe 33. If you haven't understood my prior statement, allow me to interpret. Thank you for meeting with us last week, Dr. Williams-Knight. We appreciate your time and dedication to our school. However, there is much more to discuss, and I would love the opportunity to continue our conversation and ensure that there is continued support for our students at Bilingual Center School 33. As an initial step, we request the immediate implementation of Spanish RTI response to intervention to support our students, all students in bilingual schools in BPS. Being the 7th and 8th grade home language arts teacher, also known as an HLA or SLA teacher, I want you to understand that being bilingual and biliterate are not the same thing. To achieve biliteracy, one must have access to strategies, consistent practice, supports, and exposure to both languages. This requires time and effort. To effectively become a biliterate person, one must not only be exposed to the language, but practice reading, listening, speaking, and writing frequently. This will enhance vocabulary, syntax, and grammar, which often are addressed in Spanish RTI. Research shows English language learners, including native Spanish speakers or heritage speakers, are often over or under-identified for special education due to lack of appropriate RTI in their home language. When supports, such as response to intervention in Spanish, are lacking, it is difficult to ensure success. There is a high need not only interventions, but equity of interventions for all students who need them. We serve students from many Spanish-speaking backgrounds whose parents have entrusted us with their bilingual education to have their children be successful in the world. Eliminating response to intervention in Spanish ensures that students who have joined us within the last couple of months from Puerto Rico, Venezuela, Nicaragua, and many more are not receiving the supports they need in their home language. For language acquisition to be effective, bilingual students must be able to transfer their language skills from their home language to English. Without RTI in Spanish, we block our students' learning in our bilingual schools, effectively eliminating the proper creation and strengthening of our bilingual, biliterate, and bicultural students. As we continue to work together, I would like to see a Spanish RTI block that includes foundational reading supports that are based on how students learn to read in Spanish, not a translated program. It is also imperative to have an authentic research-based assessment program to monitor our success and student progress within our RTI blocks. Having these supports will allow us to look at the students' complete linguistic repertoire to better make instructional data-driven decisions. Sí se puede.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Joseph Feeney, teacher, bilingual education.
Good evening, Dr. Williams-Knight, board members, and attendees of this meeting. First, I would like to thank the superintendent and the board for listening to my concerns and the concerns of my colleagues and community members expressed this evening. I'm asking for the immediate implementation of Spanish RTI for all students in bilingual schools. I am an English as a new language teacher at Bilingual Center School 33, so I work closely with students whose primary language is not English. The needs of these students who are on their way to becoming bilingual and biliterate are not being met. Currently, our language learning students receive a 50-50 bilingual model of education. One day, they will attend classes taught by a bilingual, Spanish-speaking teacher, if there is one. Our 6th grade classroom does not currently have a bilingual teacher, and the 1st grade class has a long-term substitute. The next day, they will attend classes taught entirely in English with the support of an ENL teacher in some subjects. This means that for students who have yet to learn English or are still mostly Spanish dominant, they are truly only absorbing a little over 50% of the information presented to them. Normally, for students who are falling behind or struggling, there would be RTI class, response to intervention, where they would work on skills they are lacking and have the opportunity to get more one-on-one time with the teacher due to smaller class size. However, this class time has been mandated by the district to be taught exclusively in English. How can we expect our students to mitigate these gaps when the support they receive is not in a language they understand? How can we tell if interventions are working if they are not in a language the students understand? A popular adage is to meet the students where they are at. If we are to do this, then we must allow students to attend RTI classes in Spanish. Education is nullified if they cannot understand what is being taught to them. This week, our students in grade 3 to 6 took the English Language Arts State Assessment. All students who have been in the United States for more than 1 year are required to take this test. However, research shows that academic language takes 5 to 7 years or even longer to acquire. Goldenberg, 2008. Many studies report that low academic language skills are associated with low academic performance. Bauman et al., 2002. If we're going to rear strong bilingual students, then their languages must be fostered side by side. This is because transferable skills in a student's native language accelerate literacy growth in a second language. McGuire, 2024. This is what I propose. Bilingual students will receive RTI in both English and Spanish daily. Currently, there are 2 RTI blocks per day, one for math and one for literacy, both of which are taught in English. We will still have 2 RTI blocks, however. One will be taught in English and the other in Spanish. Entering and emerging students who receive standalone E&L class will attend this class during the English RTI block, which is how it currently is. We operate on a 6-day letter cycle, so on A, C, and E days, students will be taught literacy in English RTI and math during the Spanish RTI block. On B, D, and F days, this would swap, and students would receive math support during English RTI and literacy support during Spanish RTI. This ensures that students still receive an equivalent amount of RTI time for both literacy and math, as well as receiving these supports in both languages. I hope this can be a starting point towards a solution. There are already many barriers at the local, state, and federal level for English language learning students, but this can be a step to removing those barriers in the name of equitable education. I call on the district to help us be defenders of our students by supporting their right to an education, one that they can understand, one that is presented in their language. I close with a quote from Albert Einstein. Everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Kara Mayer, teacher, Inequities in Bilingual Education.
I was hoping to address Dr. Williams-Knight to thank her for visiting our school last week, taking the time with us to speak with us and learn from us. I'm appreciative of her interest in learning about our program and the multifaceted needs of our bilingual students. The full scope of our program and the challenges we face cannot be addressed in just one meeting, so I look forward to continuing to collaborate to ensure our bilingual students receive an equitable education. We're here addressing the board again, imploring you for the immediate implementation of Spanish RTI for all students in bilingual schools. Buffalo schools pride themselves on being data-focused and data-driven. Our grade level meetings are predominantly devoted to analyzing data and using data effectively. However, focusing almost solely on English data, especially when we lack sufficient data points, programs, or appropriate curricula for Spanish, is not equitable. This approach provides an incomplete picture of our students' needs, their growth, their achievement, and their potential. Bilingual education research emphasizes many critical data points that must be considered and understood in a bilingual school, 2 of which I would like to highlight. Number 1, research clearly and continually shows that children must develop strong language and literacy skills in their home language before they can properly acquire proficiency in a new language. Spanish RTI will provide our students with the necessary foundation for learning English, which is especially important for our students in grades K to 2, prior to reaching 3rd grade when they will begin taking those New York State assessments. Ensuring all students have adequate home language instruction will enhance their overall cognitive and literacy development and will lead to greater success in both languages. The second data point is this. Academic language and vocabulary acquisition in a new language will take a minimum of 5 years to develop. It will take much longer than that for students who have less proficiency in their home language. As such, we may not see immediate progress on those New York State ELA assessments in 3rd or 4th or maybe even 5th grade, but this doesn't mean that success is unattainable. With strong, sustained support in home language development throughout their schooling, our students can demonstrate growth and achievement first in our own data points: exit tickets, progress monitoring, school assessments, curriculum-based measurements, and then, of course, those New York State exams. But to achieve this success, it is imperative that we provide rigorous literacy instruction in both of their languages. My colleagues and I cannot convey to you enough just how vital it is to have proper home language instruction for our bilingual students. A bilingual program is unique, and it requires an equal focus on both languages, using separate and distinct curricula, materials, programs, tools, and appropriate scheduling to ensure daily instruction in both languages. To guarantee that our students are receiving an equitable education, we must prioritize the immediate implementation of Spanish RTI for all students in bilingual schools. This is a vital step toward achieving the equity and success that our bilingual students deserve, and will ensure that students become bilingual and biliterate. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Jim. Marinka, I'm sorry. Employee. Conditions at the service center.
Thank you. I'm James Maranka. I'm a 16-year veteran at the Service Center. I, another employee, is here to speak, and there are two others in the background who support us.
Ms. Barenka, before you start, please avoid using names, specific names of other employees.
We've been informed of that.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Go ahead.
Okay. We are here for a specific purpose to support the prevention, delay, or retraction of the confirmation vote for Assistant Superintendent of Plant Services. During his time at the Service Center, the work environment has become extremely hostile. The assistant has targeted employers who provide dissenting advisement and has begun building cases to fire employees. Employees have been written up for very petty occurrences like scratching or denting work vans. To my count, the assistant has received 3 3230 complaints against him, 2 of which involved physical threats against their authors. Also, the assistant has, since he started, the Service Center has dropped 40 points in production. And is also using a personal body cam to record employees, which is raising some ire. We think that the conditions at the Service Center deserve some attention, and I would appreciate if Cindy would contact me for furtherance. We've approached Human Resources on these issues. They do not feel that they're worthy of any attention. They just keep passing them off. But I assure you, things are very tense at the Service Center, and the numbers are falling. At this time, I would like to ask Madam or Sir Timekeeper to pause my time, as the next person is very succinct, and I would like to offer my rest of my time to her. May I? Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Marenka, is the next person a speaker on the list? Yes. Yeah. We're gonna give her her full 3 minutes. Is it Elizabeth Shepard? Yeah, that's fine. We'll give her her full 3 minutes.
You skipped Laura Hahn. Yes.
What?
You skipped Laura Hahn.
Oh. Oh, I'm sorry. Laura, should I go back and get her? Okay, I'm gonna go back to Laura Hahn. I apologize, Laura.
Thank you. I would like to take a moment of silence for the great Ruby Perez and those who tragically lost their lives in the nightclub roof collapse in the Dominican Republic. In in 2020, during one of our many rallies outside of City Hall, I once saw a man holding a sign that read, "There is no such thing as a neutral education process." Paulo Freire, Pedagogy of the Oppressed. This sign stuck with me for years to come. I read a little deeper into the quote. According to Freire, washing one's hands of the conflict between the powerful and the powerless means to side with the powerful, not to be neutral. I made a promise never to be neutral about my students, my son, or my own education. And here I am today, calling on all our multilingual leaders to intervene in the decisions being made to our bilingual curriculum. It is with great confusion that I ask, why are Spanish-speaking bilingual educators being asked to go back to school and get bilingual certified? Put in the time and work into learning best practices for our students to thrive in biliteracy, as you have heard my colleagues speak on it time and time again. Only to be told by leaders who are not Spanish-speaking or bilingual certified how to teach our students our language. The powerful versus the powerless. It is an insult to our intelligence. Why are we being asked to follow a culturally and linguistically responsive curriculum and then stripped of interventions and resources necessary for our Puerto Rican and Latino communities? Tokenism at its finest. If our community of bilingual students, teachers, parents, and leaders are not invited to the decision-making table of our curriculum, who are we truly serving? We must strive for authenticity, equity, and educational liberation, and steer away from the oppressive domestication we are headed towards. Thank you for listening, y viva la cultura.
Thank you. Okay, our next speaker is Elizabeth Shepard, employee, conditions at the service.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Shepard. I'm a journeyman electrician employed by the Buffalo Public Schools. I'm very nervous. I'm not a public speaker. I'm also an active sitting member on the IBW Local 41 Executive Board and a teacher for the apprenticeship programs at IBW. I started working here in July of 2022. It was an exciting opportunity to work within the Buffalo community and improve our schools where my children also attend. I'd like to express concern I have about the climate at the Buffalo School Service Center, specifically regarding the approval of the employment of an assistant superintendent to plant services. When I first came to work here, I found a positive work environment with supportive coworkers and administration. We worked well collaboratively, and I feel that we were quite productive. Sadly, that is not the current state at the service center. We now have what can best be summed up as a hostile work environment that fosters distrust and fear among the workers. I've seen this job I love turn into a place of employees just trying to get through the day and hope they're not the next target. So I believe that a lot of this started with the first round of employment with this assistant superintendent that is now back again for a second round. Quickly, the climate there turned into threats and fear, with comments such as, I can get rid of anyone I want at any time, and you may know people, but I know more people at City Hall than you. There are also a lot of inappropriate comments. I will spare them. They're in the letter. This is printed from my notes, so there are errors, but people are afraid to come out. They're afraid to talk. They're afraid to come to this meeting. They want to come here tonight. They're afraid of being targeted. I will likely be targeted after this. So the first time This person was removed from employment. Things started to get better. Our hostile environment ebbed, and we could focus on work. It was great. To our bewilderment, this person was rehired recently and immediately came back with a vengeance, targeting people, wearing a body cam, baiting people, and then pointing to their camera and walking away. It is not a safe condition to work in. You cannot approach any concerns about work without being yelled at, threatened, or written up. Especially my shop has been targeted. I think every single write-up at the service center is into my shop. It's a chaotic work environment. It has created so much friction. We have infighting because there is so much outside influence just trying, I don't know what they're trying to do. I don't know what satisfaction it brings to harass employees and try to end their livelihoods, but it is not safe for us. So I would like to recommend that you do not vote to keep this person as a provisional employee or a permanent employee. The trade workers have no representation. We have no workplace representation at the service center. I feel like the administration is taking full advantage of that. I've written a letter of concern to Human Resources. I still have not received any response back. It goes nowhere. We have no representation. So we're just asking, help us, because it's terrible there.
Thank you, Ms. Shepherd. Our next speaker is Ed Spidell, parent, special ed. Ed is not in the house. Okay, Jose Flores Abate, president, Bilingual Education.
Good evening. My name is Jose Flores, and I come before you not only as a dedicated educator with 24 years of experience in education, but also as someone who has witnessed again and again the transformative power of bilingual education in the lives of our students. When you teach for over 2 decades, you see patterns. And what I have seen is when we honor a child's home language, when we teach in both English and Spanish, we're not just teaching academics. We're telling that child, you belong here. Your culture, your voice, your story matters. But now, I am deeply concerned. The move to dismantle bilingual response to intervention in our schools are not just a policy shift. It's a message. And that message, whether intended or not, is one of exclusion. Research supports what many of us in the classroom already know. Dr. Ophelia Garcia reminds us that being bilingual is not a problem to be solved, but a resource to be cultivated. In Bilingual Revolution, Fabrice Jamac calls bilingualism the literacy of the 21st century. I've seen it firsthand. I've watched quiet students blossom into leaders when given permission to use their home language. I've seen struggling readers find confidence and joy when lessons embrace both tongues. At El Bate Puerto Rican Center in Buffalo, we have committed to offering bilingual programming, whether it's through cultural events, educational workshops, community supports, and the results, young people feel seen, parents feel welcome, and a community is thriving because we speak their language, literally and figuratively. Bilingual education is not a luxury. It is a lifeline. So I urge you, don't take this step backwards. Don't silence voices that we should be amplifying. Let's be the kind of city where we tell people, your language is your strength. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Our next speaker is Jamie Polini, social worker. Social worker position.
Sorry. Hello, everyone. My name is Jamie Paolini. I am a social worker at School 95, and I am one of the co-chairs of the social work department. I'm here today. I spoke last month, so I'm here as a follow-up. Last month, I spoke about my concern regarding the social work positions in the district and how the special ed department will only fund one social work position in a building, no matter the size of the building and the special ed size of the population. And that really disproportionately and negatively affects our ability in the larger buildings to provide those social emotional supports, especially at the tier 1 and tier 2 levels, which is really 90% of the students. So as a follow-up, we got called, Sterling South, the other co-chair, and myself, by the superintendent, associate superintendent of the special ed department. And we were told that 5.5 full-time positions were added to the budget by the special ed department. We cannot find where those positions were added. We were assured that they were added at the building levels, but it looks like they may have been added at the central locations, like the preschool committee on special ed and the central office. But I requested in an email where those buildings or where those positions were gonna go. I have not yet heard back. I've had a follow-up email too, and I still have not heard back regarding that. So we're asking for transparency. The other thing is, since then, several of the social work positions, as well as the counselor positions, look like they're being slated on the budgets for the school budgets. And so that's really gonna have a huge impact on the provision of service, so our social emotional supports to our students. And I'm really, really concerned about that. And you know, the students in the district cannot afford to have our social emotional supports cut off. So my question is, what is the district going to do to ensure that we're providing the services to our students? The district's educational bargain tenet states that the Buffalo District commits to providing services to our neediest children and families. By cutting student support teams, the district is not putting our children and families first, as stated in our Buffalo Public School mission statement. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Linda Moraz, teacher, bilingual education.
Good evening, members of the Board of Education and community members. Thank you, Superintendent, for taking the time to meet with us last week. We appreciate the gesture. However, let's be honest, what took place was not progress. It was a formality, a box checked, not problem solved. There is still no resolution on providing our students with immediate access to Spanish resource to intervention. The reading program was deemed ineffective for both languages, and what we are being forced to use in Spanish remains outdated, ineffective, and disconnected from the needs of bilingual learners. And now, instead of moving toward equity, we see changes being proposed to how Spanish is being taught to Spanish-speaking students, not to strengthen their linguistic growth, but to accommodate an English-only framework like Orton Gillingham. We continue to see refusal to implement an equal time allocation model for Spanish instruction. This is not innovation, this is erasure. Even more concerning, teachers have been instructed by the Division of Multilingual Education to follow these district directives that fail to protect the rights of bilingual students. The very people who should be safeguarding language access and equity are instead forcing us to carry out policies that harm the communities they're meant to support. To advocate without reflection is to replicate the very harm you claim to fight against. Some wear advocacy like a mask, not to protect others, but to hide their complicity. These decisions and choices, harmful and unjust, disregard bilingual students, parents, teachers, and bilingual programs. This speaks volumes. These decisions reflect a persistent English-only ideology that fails to serve our linguistically diverse students. When individuals are allowed to use their positions to undermine bilingualism and deny children an equal education, it is not simply policy disagreement. It is racism, it's discrimination, it's social injustice. This is not a Linda Maura's fight. This is not my issue. This is a bilingual education issue that affects our children, parents, teachers, and our community. No confusion, no misunderstandings, no rhetoric, simply the truth, reality that we are living. This is not an isolated School 33 issue. We are asking for the immediate implementation of Spanish RTI for all students in bilingual schools. Not next year, not once a committee is formed, now. Our students deserve better. We can't wait and they can't either. We want leaders that are going to lead with vision, not fear.
Thank you, Linda. And I believe our last speaker on this list is Stephanie Mangello, teacher, bilingual education.
Greetings. My name is Stephanie Mangello. I'm a teacher at School 33 and also a concerned Buffalo citizen. I would first like to thank Dr. Williams-Knight, Ms. Botticelli, and Ms. Jankowski for meeting us to discuss the unique needs of a bilingual program. I look forward to more meetings taking place to truly create a thriving dual language program. I'm concerned about the abrupt decision to discontinue the response to intervention program in Spanish and the lack of urgency to reinstate it. I'm asking for immediate implementation of Spanish RTI for all students in bilingual schools. Removing RTI limits teachers' abilities to address the needs of all students and reduces the effectiveness of the dual language model. Prior to the termination of Spanish RTI, approximately 80% of students were enrolled in English RTI and only 20% in Spanish. We were told that our data, I wonder if this was data from an assessment designed for native English speakers or designed for culturally and linguistically diverse students, here nor there, but it wasn't showing sufficient growth, which led to the abrupt discontinuation of Spanish RTI. However, if we reconsider the situation and look at it through a new lens, perhaps the real reason for the lack of growth is that only 20% of students are receiving Spanish RTI, or were, in their native language, despite all students needing it to be successful. RTI is a crucial framework that helps identify and support students who are struggling academically and particularly in literacy. For students in a dual language program, it is vital that RTI be implemented in both languages of instruction. The research by August and Shanahan in 2006 indicated that literacy skills in their home language, especially early literacy, supports the development of skills in the other language. When RTI is in English only, we risk losing essential support for students' academic development in both languages. According to the U.S. Department of Education 2020 report, English learners who received targeted interventions in their native language showed greater academic growth and are more likely to succeed in both their first and second language. Discontinuing RTI in Spanish undermines the equitable access to education for our students, disproportionately affecting our already marginalized Spanish-speaking students. Without appropriate interventions in Spanish, we risk these students falling further behind, which contradicts our commitment to creating bilingual and biliterate students. The skills developed through RTI in Spanish are not only foundational for academic success in the early grades, but also have long-term implications. Without support in Spanish, students may struggle to meet grade-level standards in reading and writing, which are essential for success in higher grades and beyond. When RTI is provided in both languages, it allows students to catch up academically and close any gaps, ensuring that we are well prepared for the future academic challenges. Research and evidence clearly demonstrates that bilingual students benefit from interventions in both languages. We as professionals and experienced educators know that for our students to be successful, district programs need to be implemented with fidelity. Currently, the district has failed to provide proper staffing, a comprehensive, research-based bilingual program, and bilingual assessments to determine students' academic levels and learning needs in their native language. As a district, are we truly supporting an equitable education for all students? I'm asking for immediate implementation of Spanish RTI for all students in bilingual schools. I urge the board to prioritize bilingual students. By doing so, we ensure that all students, regardless of their primary language, receive the tools they need to succeed.
Thank you, Ms. Mangello. Superintendent Interim.
All right. Thank you, Madam President. I want to thank all of the speakers for participating in our meeting and sharing your voice with us. Dr. Williams-Knight and this board take your comments very seriously. I have taken notes on each of your comments and will be sharing those with Superintendent Dr. Williams-Knight this week. In one case, parent Tony Cook, if you're still here, if you could meet with Chief Darlene Jesenowski, she'll walk you to the back just to have a conversation with you. All right, thank you very much, Madam President.
Thank you again, speakers. All right, so now we have a student representative update. Rayhan.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you all are doing well. Thanks for coming to this meeting. I would like to take a moment to share what the Inter-High Student Council has been working on and what we are looking forward in the weeks ahead. On Monday, April 7th, student leaders from the Inter-High Student Council participated in a Code of Conduct review and feedback meeting. This meeting was hosted virtually by the Division of Student Support Service and gave us an important opportunity to provide direct input on the Buffalo Public School Code of Conduct. It was a meaningful experience to see student voices being invited into policies conversations that directly affect us. As part of our effort to build strong students' identity and involvement, we are currently running a district-wide logo competition for the Inter-High Student Council. The deadline for submission is April 11th. The entries are open to all students across the district. Participation is not limited to Inter-High Student Council members, and we asked all schools to help share the opportunity by posting flyers if permitted. We are excited to see how students' visual represents our missions and identity through their work. Looking ahead, our next Inter-High Student Council meeting will take place virtually on April 24th from 9 in the morning to 12 noon. During the meeting, we will hold an executive committee election for the upcoming 2025-2026 school years. Students who are interested in running will present a 3-minute campaign speech and short PowerPoint that outlines their goal. The open positions include president, vice president, secretary, and media and public relation representatives. In addition to our elections, where we will be joined by Dr. Karen L. King, Commissioner of Public Advocacy for Erie County, who will give our presentation on the First Amendment and First Vote program, which encourage civil engagement and students' awareness of constitutional rights. We will also participate in a focus group led by Erie County 1 BOCES to give students feedback on the superintendent search process. On May 22nd, the Inter-High Student Council will attend the annual Buffalo Public Schools Mental Health Youth Symposium. This year's theme is the game plan, right here, right now. We look forward to learning more about wellness and self-care, and we plan to bring what we learned back to our schools and peers across the district. To close out the year, we are excited to host our Inter-High Student Council Service Project and year-end celebration on June 13th. At Beaver Island State Park. The day will include park cleanup, packing summer resources, kits for McKinley-Vento students, hands-on only CPR trainings, and wellness-based activities. It is a great opportunity to give back, reflect on the year, and celebrate the work we have accomplished together. Thank you to the Board of Education, district staff, families, and everyone who continues to support student voices and leadership within the Buffalo Public School. Thank you for your time.
That's our student speaker representative. All right, so next, superintendent's update.
It's hard to believe, Board Member Rashid, that it's been a year almost since you were elected, and you'll be leaving us soon, just a few more meetings. Thank you for your incredible service to this board. Madam President and board members, the superintendent has prepared 2 presentations for you tonight. The first will be an update on your district goals monitoring. That'll be done by our Chief Academic Officer. And then you'll receive a budget update from our Chief Financial Officer. So first up is Chief Botticelli. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm here today to speak about the grade 6 middle of year data for our math assessments. So we're going to look at our interim goals. Next slide, please. So as always, we are moving to the next level: one voice, one vision, one mission. And I'll be focused on rigorous early elementary education. This particular item addresses both goals 1 and 2, eliminating achievement and opportunity gaps, and providing access to educational excellence and acceleration. Next slide, please. So last time we spoke about our literacy goals and our high school goals, and today I'll focus on numeracy. So the first goal that the board set for numeracy is that the percent of economically disadvantaged grade 6 students who are proficient on the New York State grade 6 math assessment will increase from 23.5% this previous year to 26% this September. Next slide, please. So you can see the dotted line shows where we left off in 23-24 and where we hope to be by 24-25. So students will be taking those assessments very soon. They're taking the English now, and math soon follows. Next slide, please. So the board set 2 interim goals to keep us on track. 2.1 is that the percent of economically disadvantaged grade 6 students who are proficient on the iReady math assessment will increase from 20% last June to 25% this June. Next slide, please. So we're following the blue line, the economically disadvantaged population. So over time, you can see that we have continued to increase our scores. A few years ago, we ended at 12% proficiency, went to 17%, then 20%. And we anticipate that we will be on track to meet the board's goal of 25% in June. So you can see that we started at 7% at the beginning of the year and have increased to 15%, which is our highest middle of year score to date. If you look at the previous year, at the middle of the year, we were at 12% proficiency. So it's about a 3% growth from last year. Next slide, please. The board also set a second interim goal. The percent of economically disadvantaged grade 6 students who are 2 or more grade levels below grade on the iReady math assessment will decrease. So the previous one increased. Now we're going to try to decrease from 58% in June of 2024 to 54% in June of 2025. So this goal indicates there'll be a reduction in the percent of our level 1 students. Next slide, please. And as you can see, we continue to show progress. So we continually show a decrease. Again, we're following the blue. This time it's on top because we're decreasing. So the economically disadvantaged group of students has continued to decrease in, has increased in proficiency, and that group has decreased the percent that are below level. So we started the year at 73% and are down 10% to 63%, which again is a better place than we were in over the past few years, because if you follow it across, in 2021-22, in the middle of the year we were at 73%, the following year 68%, then 65, and now 63. So we continue to show improvement in this area, and we're confident that we will achieve the district's target of 54%, even though it's a little bit of a stretch. Last year we ended at 58%. Next slide, please. So I know I'm going through this quickly. If you have additional questions, please feel free to ask. But some of the things that we're doing to make sure that we are on track: we continue to use our coaching tool for mathematics to monitor instruction in classrooms. We continue to conduct site visits. The ASLs are out, I am out. Our Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum Assessment and Instruction has been partnering with the math department to go visit classrooms, particularly to focus on both RTI and classroom instruction. We have TOSAs who go out and provide additional levels of support at the buildings. They also provide additional trainings outside of the school hours. We have a new math program, so this is our first year with Reveal, and so far we've gotten very positive feedback from schools. We're also using Alex, which is a digital intervention tool that many schools have found very successful. We've provided a lot of professional development, so both programmatic, for example, for Reveal, but also numbers, which is akin to letters, so it's a very focused mathematics training. We hold principal meetings where we review data. We've also held many Saturday sessions, alternating Saturdays for principals and teachers. They call them math learning community meetings, where they sit and review the upcoming units and plan together as a team, analyze data, and make sure that everyone understands what needs to happen in the classroom. We've been reviewing RTI scheduling across the board, making sure that it is embedded in school schedules so that students are receiving intervention in mathematics. We've provided curriculum audits, meaning that we take a look at previous year's state assessment data, compare it to how we implement it in the district, and provide guidance for schools. We have extended learning time opportunities across the board at our elementary schools. We have district data meetings, there's Math League, and I know several of you have come to our events in the past. So it's a chance for students to show off their learning and their acceleration and come together to celebrate in competition. The math department provides what they call a blast for schools to share with families, and they're participating in an equity-focused math coaching study. Those are just some of the things that are happening, but we really feel that we have started to see continued growth across the grade levels, and the iReady data helps to show that. Next slide, please. Oh, okay, making sure. So if anyone has any questions, I am happy to answer. I know I did that very quickly, but I know there's a second presentation coming, so I don't want to take more time than is allotted.
All right, thank you, Chief Botticelli. And Madam President, we'll have our CFO give his presentation to the board on status of the budget. Thank you,
Thanks,
Joe.
Ann.
Thank you.
Hello, board members. I'll get started right off the bat. Tonight's an update on our 25-26 budget process and the 4-year plan, which I'm going to start, which is the main tool that finance and the CFO uses to monitor our district finances. But I want to start talking about that more and more with the board. Admir, first slide, please. So with so much going on here, I think it's prudent to start out with a big picture overview to provide some context. The remainder of this year and the budget process for next year are amongst the most eventful in the history of BPS. Our financial planning, decision-making, and controls have to be focused, spot on, and well communicated. To provide some context, the challenges and the opportunities that we're dealing with over the next few years include the 24-25 current year budget deficit of $55 million. Please note this was updated from a $73 million deficit reported at our last meeting, and this is based upon our draft Q3 25 results. We're always monitoring and updating our projections and our performance. For context, this is the second year of the superintendent's 2-year plan to right-size staff and overall costs to align with enrollments while maintaining the services for the increase in needs. I'll give a little report on that later. The 25-26 level 2 budget shows a deficit of $87 million. We'll talk a little bit more about that tonight. But that has been updated from the previously reported level 1 deficit of $117 million. We got to keep in mind that negotiations will soon begin, have already begun on about 4 or 5 unions, but all bargaining units will get new contracts over the next 24 months. There's costs associated with those. There's a $94 million capital project program well underway and moving forward. And it's in part to be funded by a bond issuance and the remainder from our general fund cash, but this will be reimbursed through building aid over 15 years. Then there's the lease of a new $44 million commissary over 15 years. That will utilize all the reserves in the C fund over the course of the next 10 years, and then the general fund will be asked to offset some of those deficits. This last item, this is absolutely a board decision. I know that. But as your CFO, I'm just putting it on the table for school closings in the 26-27 year. I underline planning must start this summer. It's my job and other people in the cabinet to provide this board with good data for you to make decisions. And that's what I mean by planning will start this summer. Admir, next slide, please. We are, for the 25-26 budget process, these are around this time of year, things get a little anxious, but we are right on schedule. I present this calendar at every meeting. Right now, we're down at that final state budget and state aid totals. Well, the state hasn't adopted a budget yet. We don't know what those totals are. We have a very good idea, but that's an important next step. And now we'll start working from the $87 million deficit with a slew of meetings, which I'm going to outline, I believe, on the, in a slide or two. So we're right on schedule, but we have a lot to do over the next month, and you'll be deeply involved in that. Admir, next slide, please. So here's where we are at the end of the level 2 budget. The first column is the 24-25 approved budget. For some comparison and context again, this year our approved budget showed an $83 million deficit. That was the first year of that superintendent's 2-year plan, where we put 152 ARP-ESSER positions into the general fund. The last time I reported was this level 1 budget. That had a $117 million deficit. So tonight I'm here to report the level 2 budget as of 4/8/25. There's $1.1 million in revenues. That's $22 million more than this year's approved budget, or a 2% improvement. What's important to realize within that number is about a $12 million drop in building aid revenue, which is expected and offset by a drop in debt service, but that sort of skews that number a little. We had I think we got $32, $33 million, or a 4% increase in foundation aid. Again, those numbers will be finalized when the state approves their budget. On the expenditure side, you'll see salaries, overtime, ancillary, those have gone up $25 million from the current year approved budget, or 6%. Benefits are projected to go up $14.5 million from this year's approved budget. Transportation, the new contract will result in about $8.7 million in increases. Charter school tuitions, they're expected to go up $7.8 million. Debt service, as I noted earlier, it drops by about $12 million, almost the exact amount that our building aid revenue drops. When projects are properly funded with debt, they offset each other. This other category, I had a brief conversation with Ms. Woods today. This shows a decrease of $17 million, or 9%. A note, what's in there is a $17 million contingency for cost cuts, vacancy contingencies that we wanted to represent, but that are not specifically finalized at this time, okay? They'll all be worked out in level 3, which we're in now. So there's the big categories. It tells the story. Salaries and benefits are 60% of our expenditures. Salaries and overtime, ancillary. The impact this year is the compounding effect of a 3 or 4 year old contract. 4% over 4% over 4%. Admir, next slide, please. So this might be a little redundant, but our level 2 budget shows an $87 million deficit. Our expected cost increases, salary projections are up 25 million for all bargaining units based on the salary cost and other factors. And we really drill down into our benefit projections. We're seeing about a $15 million increase. And then based upon a relatively small increase in charter enrollments, but unfortunately, a Board of Regent proposed change in tuition formulas, we expect a $9 million increase in charter-related expenditures. And then the new transportation contract, we expect $8 million increase. These were all shown in the prior slide. I just thought I'd verbalize them again. Somewhat offsetting these increases are a potential, because the state hasn't approved their budget, $23 million increase in total revenues, a $12 million reduction in debt service. Our total debt will be below $300 million as we start the next year. Not so long ago, it was $1 billion. We're paying that down very rapidly. The increases in transportation costs noted above, they are approximately 90% reimbursable through state aid, but in the following year. So this will actually be more of a cash flow issue next year, but it'll balance itself out the year after. Admir, next slide, please. So, let me tell you what's to come in the next steps, and you'll be deeply involved in this. We've reviewed how we got from 117 million down to 87 million. We reviewed all the department budget requests. We cut some expenditures there. The formula-based school-based budgets, they've been approved and reconciled in Munis. We can now produce a full set of budget reports for further analysis. So we roll the budget to level 3. Here's the next steps. Hopefully we get a final state budget soon. That will determine our revenue number. The superintendent, the ASLs, and budget meetings to review the approximately 55 FTE unbudgeted requests. Those FTEs and the associated costs are not included in the $87 million deficit. We have weekly meetings with the superintendent to review ideas on budget reductions. She has 7 or 8 in front of her. She's actively involved every week. It's typical at this point. She's asking for more information, more feedback before she makes a decision on those. Beginning the week of April 21st, meetings with the board members to review the school-based budgets, the unbudgeted requests, and any other budget issues. This next point is important. Only after these FTE decisions and other budget decisions are finalized do HR and the budget team meet to reconcile the FTE counts and staffing decisions. I'm mentioning this proactively because we can't give an answer on will there be layoffs, will temporary teachers not be assigned. Depending on the school-based budget request, the request from the principals, there's always staff movement. So I'm not trying to be coy, we just don't have the answers to that. And in a district with 7,000 employees, 11 bargaining units, and seriously, like 5,000 job titles, any movement of one employee causes a domino effect. So that's when HR and the budget team, after the budget decisions have been decided upon, including the 55 unbudgeted requests, that's when we'll give an update on the staffing decisions. After all that's done, we make decisions on the final budget gap closing measures and the recommended use of fund balance. The superintendent's proposed budget books are presented to the board in early May. May 21st board meeting, we vote to approve the superintendent's proposed budget, and only then can we complete an updated 4-year plan. Admir, next slide, please. All right, this next one. Our financial planning and modeling is always based on a multi-year view. We think it's part of the reason for how we got to our strong financial position right now. So the superintendent had a 2-year plan based upon this year's approved budget. Year 1 of that plan, this current year, we're going to beat the objectives. We're on track for a $55 million deficit as opposed to the approved budget of 83.5. However, we just don't rest on that laurels. Now we're saying, okay, what does next year look like? There's that multi-year approach. In the 25-26 year, we're going to fall short of the objectives, I believe, at this point. The 4-year plan projected a $36 million deficit. This was based upon closing 1 school and a reduction in FTE counts of 150 to 200 through retirements. Here's why I'm not optimistic to hit that goal right now. We're not closing a school next year, and the retirements that we thought were going to be between 200 and 300, they're currently running at 49. So, the table to the left here shows you the power of the multi-year approach. The first column is our current 4-year plan. That's the document that we utilize to monitor and maintain the strength of our fund balance. It's what organizations like the Control Board and our external auditors use to track our progress. Our 4-year plan, the beginning of the year fund balance was about $400 million. Our 24-25 projected deficit was $83.5 million. Within the 4-year plan, next year's budget deficit was supposed to be lowered because of those factors I just mentioned, down to $36 million. That would have ended up with an end of year 2026 fund balance of $280 million. Fund balance is a somewhat complicated thing. You have to make assignments within that money. About $200 million we have assigned right now. So that would have left us, the 4-year plan, with an unassigned fund balance at 6/30/26 of $80 million. The next column over shows you where we are right now. Beginning of the year fund balance, $400 million. This projected deficit, we're beating the current year's plan. It's going to be $55 million or less, so we beat projection. But right now, as I just reported, our level 2 deficit for next year currently is at $87 million. We missed the projection. But how does that factor in, the 2 years combined? End of year 2026 fund balance will be $258 million. You take out the assignments, it will leave us with $58 million in unassigned fund balance. I hope this helps clarify, put in perspective where we are right now, how it stacks up against the 4-year plan, which is the most important planning document. And from here, the work we have to do to finish the next year's budget and its impact on our fund balance. Admir, next slide, please. So, an updated 2-year plan, right? We're going to take the gains from this year. We're going to beat our approved budget, and we're working on an $87 million deficit. So, first of all, 25-26 budget, it's still in progress. The current projected deficit could be lowered through additional budget reduction measures, and we're currently looking at all and any alternatives. We could, though, utilize the better than planned results in the current year to provide some flexibility in our 25-26 budget decisions and still get close to our established 4-year plan. That's what the prior slide showed. And because we have a very thoughtful and involved superintendent, those 2 factors is what she ponders every time we're in there talking about cost cutting and other measures. However, and again, these are board decisions, but we will provide you data to begin planning in the summer of 2025 for the following. School closings in 26-27, We had one scheduled for next year. We put that off. As you can see with the stubborn budget deficit, we don't have much choice to remain financially solvent. I don't think. This is absolutely the board's, but we're going to get you the data. And then staff reductions in 26, 27. Nobody retired this year. We were sort of counting on that. And why do I focus on that? Nobody wants to see anybody get hurt. But staff and benefits are 60% of our budget and growing. So our decisions in these areas must be clearly reflected and updated in the 4-year plan. Admir, next slide, please. So, 4-year plan is our most important financial planning tool. The budget provides a detailed 1-year outlook. It's like a 12-month spending plan. The 4-year plan incorporates important trend data in enrollments, in FTE counts, contract amounts, benefit amounts, charter school enrollments. And then it projects it out over multiple years, such as a contract with a 4% increase next year. That's not how we look at it. We look at 4, 3, 3, 3. We look at the cumulative impact of the compounding effect over 4 years. Likewise, we look at our enrollment counts and use them as a basis for projecting out foundation aid. All of that, though, within the context of what is the impact on our fund balance. So issues that must be incorporated into the plan, you gotta fix our structural deficits, you know. School closings, if the board decides to pursue that. A capital project plan. We're rapidly bidding out projects from the approved list. It's exciting. Our first 2 bids that came back were $600,000 less than our estimated budgets. But the debt and the building aid financing for those. And then the financial impact of the commissary on the C fund. We don't have the luxury of looking at any one decision in a vacuum. Commissary is going to be funded by the C fund, but only for 10 years. Years 11 through 15, it's going to draw upon the general fund balance. Admir, next slide. I'm done.
Thank you, Jim. Any questions for Mr. Burns?
Oh, I'm sorry. Now that I see you grabbing the microphone, Ms. Catman, one thing I wanted to mention, and this is a little uncomfortable setup for me. I didn't get to read my notes. Within that contingency we put in there for cost-cutting measures, we have heard board members Cotman and Woods and others, and we are going to be quantifying the savings resulting from operational improvements in various areas. Overtime, inventory control. Those will be in the budget.
So you're psychic now. So what is the lottery going to be tonight?
4-2.
Okay, thank you. I just want to ask a couple of questions, and certainly I reached over to Paulette, and she said, you can ask him, but you answered it. I just want to ask a couple of questions here because I often hear you talk about the expenditures associated with the charter school equation.
Yeah.
And here you have about $8 million, and then you generously take it up another $1 million. You know how you do, Jim. You like to round up big. You know how you do, right. So anyway, with that said, these increased expenditures, you referenced that it was associated possibly with tuition, but it's also involved with the loss of or gain of student population?
A relatively nominal gain. The increases in charter enrollments have been slowing. They might be as low as increasing by 200. So if we did that times the current tuition rate, it would be up $2 million. Board of Regents is proposing a dramatic change in the special ed formula for those kids attending charters. If that's imposed July 1st, it's going to go up $8 million.
So have we gone on record to reach out to our regents as well as to the Commissioner of Education from this district, the second largest district in the state?
Yes.
We have formally sent letters out?
Yes, and that was last year, and it did cause them to delay the implementation until this year, and now everything's eerily silent.
So can we do it again? Can we
Sure.
back
I'll
up and
follow
try
up
it
with you on
again? Okay. When I often hear that the increase in charter expenses are going up, I often ask myself, with all the department heads and all the staff that we have we put our minds together and put together a formal plan, a plan that will involve recruiting, retention, and getting our students back. I would like to call, I don't know, but I'm thinking that in my mind's eye, this plan would include every department that we currently have with some sort of an idea to gain our population back, and especially it would include the communication department. Oftentimes, although we're doing it better than we have in years, we do not sell Buffalo Public Schools as well as I think we can in every aspect that we can. We're doing great things, but what I'm talking about is an inundation of information about Buffalo Public Schools on a regular basis. I have a question, and I'm not sure, Chairperson Woods for the Finance and Ops told me today that the Bennett High School project is moving forward, and it would be in next month's package. However, my concern is that the anniversary for Bennett is in September. And last year we were promised that we would have new scoreboards. As a matter of fact, the money we felt was earmarked for the scoreboards. I guess it ended up at another school, maybe Riverside, I'm not sure. But this is like a saga that's been going on since the previous administration.
Yeah.
And so my biggest fear is that for the work that the Bennett High alumni has done in our district over the past 10 years, that we would make sure that the building as well as the all-high facility is top-notch for them. And it's certainly not, I don't see it happening to the degree that I imagined it unless there's going to be a miracle happening. Can you share anything on that, please?
Sure. There will not be a miracle, but it's progressing. The final designs, including the $2 million revisions to the original designs, are at SED right now being reviewed, and they've been there. So we are expecting relatively shortly approval of those plans, which culminates in a building permit. Then that project will immediately go out to bid. That's where we are.
Will we be in August by then, or what?
Oh, no.
Okay. I'm pleased.
We're getting the bids out within weeks of getting the building permits from the state.
Well, I will share with you that when our last lobbying effort that we did in Albany in February, and the state ed department said that the Big Five school districts had been elevated by the Commissioner of Education so that their needs can be addressed in a more expedient way.
Yep.
One of the things they talked about was how excited they were to see that our alternative ed program was in the process of being revamped. And so from what I'm hearing, there's some cost savings associated with the proposed ideas that we currently have being presented to the community, but we didn't do it in a big way. Can I ask you a question that if the current space that is currently being occupied by the adults, if we were able to free up that space and allow more students to get their first choices, is that an option?
Is this pertaining to adult ed?
High school particularly, the high school model, where we have the adults occupying floors and buildings.
Right now, I can tell you, Dr. Reynolds has come in with numerous items and ideas that are exciting, but right now it's under review. We're gathering all the data, and this is just from the budget financial guide. We have 27 capital projects right now that we're focused on, any new movements or leases or buildings, if there's any holdup to it, it's from the finance side and how it combines with the four-year plan and everything I mentioned in here. But please. Ms. Kaplan, would you?
Restate your question. I'm sorry, I was
Well,
seeking
I don't
clarity on
know.
another question.
I think it ties into registration as well as relocation, but my question was, especially since I had previously referenced retention and recruiting, if we are able to free up the space in the buildings that we currently have and open up registration to expand. For example, if Bennett is allowed to expand, if East High School is allowed to expand, some of the other buildings that are occupied, is it possible that we could increase our enrollment that way is where I was going, to try to figure out how we can make a difference and open up? Because when our customers or our students don't receive their first choices, they go to other options. And so we know that particularly in some schools there's been a request for space and they have not been made available because of what's going on inside the building, co-occupancy as well as some of the presence of adults in the building.
CFO Barnes, would you mind if I interrupt for just a minute? Because I think we got clarity on the question. So I know the superintendent is interested in the same thing because she's been evaluating to the point about expanding enrollment in the district, bringing kids back from the charter schools, all the things that I know are very important to this board. One of them is how do we, in the high demand schools, free up the space so that more, to exactly your point, more first choice kids are getting that spot that they're looking for. So I know she's going to roll that into a lot of her decision making around the budget. She has started probing the question of if we did move staff to free up space in any of our schools, where exactly would they go? Would they be able to perform their functions there effectively? And so forth. So I know she's looking at that. What I did was I jotted that down as maybe a talking point during your upcoming budget meetings. Let's maybe make it something that she can bring up there.
Thank you.
And then, by the way, those budget meetings will be, you'll be getting the invites from me on that for your individual budget meetings, which will be on April 24th and 25th. Thank you for signing up for the available time slots. But I'll make sure she understands that that's something the board is interested in.
Well, I think I've talked about it enough, and I guess I'm at the point where I'd like to see a plan of some sort in place, at least an initial plan, to make sure that we are working on maintaining, recruiting, and providing what students want. I mean, if we have waiting lists in buildings, let's make sure that we get those kids, those students, our customers, what they're going after. Because one of the things I'm concerned about is, especially since charter schools are expanding, that if we do not do that immediately, we are subject to lose even more students as a campus has opened up that can accommodate quite a few more students in our city. Thank you, gentlemen and ladies, for answering my questions.
Oh, Ms. Common, I just spoke with Dr. Reynolds. We want to assure you that regarding the all high. Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to correct the record. Bennett is receiving a scoreboard. No scoreboard was given away to another school. It's a part of the phase 3.
Right, but last year we were told that by September we were going to have that scoreboard. And the year before that we were told that the scoreboard was coming. So we've been waiting on a scoreboard. The minutes will reflect that we've been told numerous times that we were getting a new scoreboard at Bennett, and we thought it was supposed to happen in September. And so I just want to be clear, okay? We know it's coming, we just don't know when it's coming. Previous administration promised us that once the green went in, that it would immediately go up, and that has not happened. So it is our premier stadium, okay? And I am anxiously waiting, and I certainly want to make sure that by the 100th anniversary, which is September the 21st weekend, that we have those, at least that up, since we won't have probably the concessions or all the other things. So thank you for that information.
Mr. CFO,
Yes.
I thank you for your thorough presentation, keeping us abreast of the challenges we're facing, and I'm looking forward to you being more detailed so the board can know things like we just got $2.5 million more because your staff is billing Medicaid for services, that you are looking at cost containment for one of our biggest areas, fringe benefit. This is not the time to be modest. Blow your horn on the increases in revenues that your staff is working at and the cost containment measures that reduce that deficit from 73 million down to 55. Give the board the details so they know how hard you're working and how hard your staff is working.
I'll give more details at the next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Barnes.
So anyway, I'd like to share some information that I'm bringing back from the convention. Money I'd like to share with the staff. Talked to Kim this morning about what's available with special ed. And I brought a PowerPoint. I'll be sharing it also with everyone here, but I thought I brought it today, but I'll make sure Lisa or Ruth sends it out. And it specifically addressed how we can build and get more money out of different things. And there was a lot of new things in there. And yes, we have started, but there is a whole lot more under that umbrella that we can collect money on. And
Yep.
Oh, you want to? Oh, yeah, the mega. Oh, we're going to talk about that in committee, but there is a mega, there is a Go Green incentive for $50,000 for our district. We can get our application in by March 15th, 14th. It's here. No, oh, I'm sorry, April. Is it April or May? Oh, it's May. It's May.
Okay.
I'll take a look at it. But yeah, it's in here. And we just want to make sure that Buffalo gets that extra buck. That's all we're looking for. Here it is.
No, I just wanted to mention also, one of those big increases you have in the budget is in the area of transportation. And we did meet with some information that we'll be bringing back to you on using AI to more efficiently schedule our buses so that we may be able to use fewer buses and decrease that cost and, minimize that cost. So we went down there looking for some answers on cost containment.
Oh, okay. And we'll give a shout out to Hill. We found some more information about AI routing.
Okay.
So we started thinking about you also, David Hill, when we were there.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chief Barnes. All right, can I get a motion to approve the March 19th and April 2nd, 2025 minutes? Terry Schuler, and second by Cindy McCutcheon. Thank you. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, so we're going to go over the, what's that, Ms. Fogg? Consent agenda. All right, so let's see. Board Member Sharon Belton Cotman. Oh, sorry. All right, can I have a motion to accept this consent agenda? All right, Scott and Woods. All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. All right. So now we're going to go over the exception. I have Board Member Sharon Belton Cotman comment on 16A, which is.
So I just wanted to go on record to say, and I had a brief conversation with CFO Barnes about the ordering of books in this and literature and things in this district, and he assured me in moving forward, that there would be a process put back in place where before books and things are ordered, that we will check our inventory and make sure that we are not ordering books that are already in inventory, which is happening on a regular basis. And so he said, Madam Chair, that you guys will be working on that, and I'm excited about that because we have a warehouse full of books, and more are coming in of the same books. And we want to make sure that we spend those dollars properly. So he's going to reinstitute what was in existence for years. He promised me that. So I wanted to go on record for that, to make sure that we're aware of that. There's a more efficient way than having everyone just order books without checking to see if they're currently in stock. All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next item, Board Member Terry Schutter, comment on 19C.
Just wanted to say thank you to Mr. Hills and the staff and administration at School 27. It's been a long process to get that roof done, and I was there viewing the buckets and how frustrating it was for the whole community. So thank you that that roof is getting done this summer.
Okay, thank you. All right, so can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Board Member Schutter, second by McCutcheon. All in favor? Any? Oh. Oh, take a poll?
Thank you. With respect to the motion to approve the consent agenda, how do you vote, Board Member Belton Cotman?
Would you come back, please, to me? Thank you.
Absolutely. Board Member Everhart? Yes. Any exceptions? No exceptions? Okay. Board Member McCacken? Vice President McCacken, sorry. No exceptions? Board Member Makosi? No exceptions. Board Member Shuta? Exception is 17G. 17G? Okay. And other than that? Vice President Scott?
Exception 17E, no exceptions.
Board Member Woods?
No exceptions.
Board Member Zulich? Board President Evans Brown?
No exceptions.
And going back to Board Member Belton Cotman.
Thank you for that privilege.
Sure.
I recuse myself for item 9A, line number 92, family. Thank you.
Okay. And other than that, no exceptions?
No exceptions, thank you.
Thank you. The consent agenda is approved.
Thank you. Next, we'll go to board member resolutions. A, resolution, U.S. House of Representatives funding cuts. Can I have a motion to bring item 26A, a board resolution regarding the U.S. House of Representatives funding cuts before the board? Zulik? Second? Cindy McCutcheon, all in favor? Any opposed?
Can we be added to sponsoring this resolution? I believe most of the members are okay with this.
Oh, absolutely. I just didn't see the names, but
I was gonna
Sharon
bring
Belton
them.
Cotman,
Mhm.
this resolution was posted in board docs, so everyone should have had an opportunity to read it. But we generally read
I would like to read it for the
Yes.
record. I think
Okay,
it's
so
important. I
Sharon
think-
Belton Cotman.
And afterwards, I would like to also acknowledge the board members who are interested in signing on. It is my hope that every board member at this table signs on. This resolution is being presented to large urban school districts in conjunction with the Council of Great City Schools. All legislators in Western New York will receive a copy. Whereas our nation's public schools serve an essential purpose and role in providing a free education to all children, creating a healthy and supportive environment for students, and preparing those enrolled to be successful and productive members of society. Whereas providing federal funding for our nation's children and the elementary and secondary schools that serve them is one of the most important functions of Congress. Whereas the federal funding provided by Congress targets our nation's most vulnerable children to ensure that all students have an equal opportunity to learn, thrive, and reach their full potential. Whereas our public schools rely on the federal funding we receive to provide vital and essential educational, nutritional, and basic health services to all children, particularly those with the greatest needs, including students from low-income families, English language learners, and students with disabilities. Whereas federal Medicare funding plays a critical role in supporting our public schools and the well-being of our children by assisting with a portion of the cost of providing basic health services to eligible children from low-income families and assisting with the cost of providing education-related services like speech therapy and physical therapy for eligible students with disabilities. Whereas federal child nutrition programs provide reimbursements to school districts for serving nutritious meals in schools and ensuring all children are ready to learn. Whereas federal funding under the Elementary and Secondary Education Act helps school districts provide essential instructional services, including Title I grants to help low-income students and schools in the poorest neighborhoods, Title II grants to address teacher shortages and to pay for teacher training, and Title III grants to help students learn English. Whereas congressional leaders are considering block granting federal education funding, a practice which historically has been used to reduce federal investments in education, cut funding to beneficiaries, and eliminate targeting to vulnerable populations. Whereas the Budget Committee in the U.S. House of Representatives approved a 2025 budget resolution that will reduce funding for Medicare and child nutrition programs over 10 years, whereas the appropriate committee in the U.S. House of Representatives approved a full year 2025 appropriations bill that included a 25% cut to Title I and eliminate all funding for the Title II and Title III programs, whereas the loss of these federal funds will have an enormous impact on all of our nation's elementary and secondary school students, particularly those from low-income families, English language learners, and students with disability who attend high-poverty schools that have historically been underfunded. Therefore, be it resolved that the Buffalo Board of Education opposes the education cuts in the U.S. House of Representatives for year 2025 budget resolutions and for year 2025 appropriation bills that will reduce funding for K through 12 schools and the programs that serve our most vulnerable children. Be it further resolved that the Buffalo Board of Education calls on members of the U.S. House of Representatives to vote no on any measures that include cuts to Medicare that will negatively impact basic health and educational service for low-income children and students with disability, changes to school meal eligibility under the Child Nutrition Program, reductions in education funding for Title I, Title II, or Title III programs, or block granting of education funding. This was shared and has been distributed across the nation for all large school districts. At this point, I would like to hear if any of my additional board members would like to go on record officially to say that they will be in agreement with moving forward.
Thank you for that. Reading that resolution is so important to the second largest district in the state.
I'd like to co-sponsor.
Okay, I think Janina?
Yes, I replied to the email. I co-sponsor.
As did I reply to the email and co-sponsor.
Yes, I would co-sponsor.
Me too.
Yes, I also would co-sponsor.
Yeah, I'll probably co-sponsor.
Thank you. So this resolution will be amended to include every board member on the Buffalo Board of Education as we stand united with the Council of Great City Schools and many other agencies and organizations across America at this most critical time in our history. Thank you so much.
If there is no more discussion on this resolution, can I have a motion to adopt this resolution? Scott, Makusi, General Counsel, please poll the board.
Thank you. On the motion to adopt the resolution regarding the U.S. House of Representatives funding cuts, how do you vote? Board Member Belton-Cotman.
Yes.
Board Member Everhart. Yes. Vice President McEcken. Yes. Board Member Makosi. Yes. Board Member Shuta. Yes. Vice President Scott.
Yes.
Board Member Woods. Board Member Zulish.
Yes.
And President Evans-Brown.
Yes.
And the motion unanimously passes, and it is the resolution is adopted.
Thank you. Next, can I have a motion to bring item 26B, a board resolution regarding the appointment of an interim superintendent before the board? Board Member Woods, second by Belton-Cotman. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, so item 26B is now before the board. This resolution was also posted in board docs, and I'm going to read it. So, appointing the interim superintendent April 9, 2025, whereas Superintendent of Schools Dr. Tanya M. Williams-Knight has announced that she will be retiring from the Buffalo City School District effective June 30th, 2025. And whereas in order to ensure stability within the district, the Buffalo Board of Education wishes to announce the appointment of an interim superintendent, which will be effective July 1st, 2025, in the event that a permanent superintendent is not appointed prior to that date. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Buffalo Board of Education hereby appoints Dr. Will Carestas as interim superintendent effective July 1st, 2025, to serve from July 1st, 2025 until such time as a successor to that office is appointed, pursuant to the terms set forth in the agreement attached hereto as Exhibit A, which the board president is hereby authorized and directed to execute on behalf of the district. Discussion.
I would like to go on record with this one. I would like to say that I've worked with Dr. Caresses for the past, since 2011, and he has announced that he is retiring. It will be a big loss to this district the day that he walks out, but I know he will continue to advocate for children. So we're able to get a little bit more bang for our buck out of him until he goes. But no, in all sincerity, I feel that there's no one better to handle this situation at such a time as this, and we are blessed to have him, and we are blessed that he accepted the responsibility, even though he's deep breathing because he knows he's biting off a big chunk. But we know that he can do it well. He already has illustrated that in the past, and I look forward to working with him during this period of time. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussions, comment? All right, so if there's no more discussion, can I have a motion to adopt this resolution? Honorable Janita Everhart, second by Board Member Vice President Scott. General Counsel, oh, you're there. Please poll the board.
Thank you. On the motion to adopt the resolution regarding the appointment of an interim superintendent, how do you vote? Board Member Belton-Cotman.
Yes.
Board Member Everhart. Yes. Vice President McEcken. Yes. Board Member Makosi? Board Member Shuta? Vice President Scott? Board Member Woods? Board Member Zulich? And President Evans-Brown? The motion is unanimously passed and the resolution is adopted.
Alrighty, we're moving right along. Can I have a motion authorizing the superintendent to negotiate and execute a third amended settlement agreement resolving a matter in State Supreme Court under index number 2009-011969 and execute any additional documents required to extend the board's transportation agreement with the charter school for applied technologies for no less than the current terms for a period not to exceed 5 years. McCutcheon, second. Shuta. All in favor? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. All right, so we have 2 opposed. All right, so we have 2 opposed. Do they need to explain or no? Okay. All right, motion passes. I think based on time, committee reports. So I'm going to just paraphrase. 4 of us went to the National School Board Association Conference in Atlanta this past weekend. It was pretty awesome. We went to various committee sessions. Sharon mentioned some of the AI information, transportation, special ed, and so on. I've even brought gifts for all of you. I forgot them today, but I will get that to you. So we will put that in a document and share with you some of the other innovative activities that we participated in as a group. I think that was any other unfinished business. Okay. You have, it's not working?
To the attention of our listening audience that there are some meetings that are scheduled. One of them is
The
in
one
regards to
April
our
19th, I mean, April 10th?
about our about the possible
Consolidation?
consolidation that is going to be had at I remember right.
MST.
No, it's
5 to 7? 5 to 6, 5?
It's going to be this Thursday. Charlene Watson, can you help us with this and give us the dates of your 2 meetings that you have set for the public so that they can talk about the possible consolidation of some programs that you're working on? I don't have it in front of me. If I keep working on this, I'll bring it up. Let's see. Watson. Oh, here it is. Okay. So, all right. So, I think, Charlene Watson, if you could just come forward and just tell us a little bit about this. We have the dates here, but I still think it's important that our listening audience hears this because we want people to know what we're doing as part of our desire to keep people informed and to keep them participating. And if you don't remember the dates, I have them here, but just share a little bit about this because there are 2 meetings that are coming up very soon.
Good evening, board members, interim president, and I'm sorry, Dr. Cresses. We have a meeting tomorrow at Burgard High School. It is at 5 p.m. and we'll probably host it in the library because it's a little more intimate, but we'll wait to see how many parents come. The purpose of these meetings, we had one last week. Board Member Shuter came, thank you. And the purpose of these meetings is for parents and the community and teachers and staff to be made aware of the upcoming changes for the next school year. We are currently looking to consolidate pathways from 4 sites to 2 sites. The 4 sites currently are at South Park, East High School, Riverside High School, and Burgard High School. With the consolidation plan, we will only use Burgard High School and South Park High School. The reason being Riverside and East have the lowest number of students attending. This planned consolidation will help reduce our financial obligation a little bit, not a lot, but at the same time, we are also working with students to help them make transition plans for next school year. And those plans could include, we have quite a number who may graduate in June or August, fortunately, but those plans may include going to either Burgard or South Park or CCI, and some may even want to pursue a general education diploma.
So those 2 dates again are tomorrow?
So the next meeting is tomorrow, and then at Burgard High School, 400 Kensington Avenue. The next 2 meetings will be at Riverside and South Park. Riverside is 4 p.m., South Park is 5 p.m. And if you could give me the dates again, Board Member Cotman, I forgot. Oh, thank you.
So April 10th is, here we go, Burgard. Riverside will be April 24th, Thursday at 5 o'clock. And then Tuesday, April 29th at South Park from 5 to 6.
And if anyone have any questions at any time, you can certainly call me or email.
And you can join by Zoom. We
Ms.
have the
Watson,
link.
there's a couple of questions.
Yes.
Have you decided which sites will close yet, or is this just preliminary?
Riverside and East High School will close because they have the lowest student enrollment.
Okay. Board Member Scott?
ASL Watson, is eliminating the virtual pathways program completely no longer under consideration?
So first correction is it's not virtual pathways, it's just pathways. Virtual lends people to believe that it's a login type of program. They use a program platform called Connexus, and that's how they do their schoolwork. But I really can't answer that question.
What we're looking at now is the consolidation. So that's what the public meetings are about. That's what the superintendent is developing with the team. So I don't want to answer your question and say anything is off the table, but right now it's the consolidation.
Thank you, Interim
And how that will
Superintendent.
work and how that will be successful for students.
Board Member Shuter?
And, you know, as a veteran principal, I was a part of the whole planning and the rollout. I don't know, the years have gone by, so I don't know how many years. And I'm going to go on record to say that I was flabbergasted at how far we got away from the initial mission of their program. And I cannot believe that there were some things that were very upsetting to me, and so many things that we were discussing at the meeting, I look forward to discussing again tomorrow.
One more question so this consolidation obviously is going to have an impact on staffing.
Yes.
And on students in terms of logistics, getting from point A to point B.
Yes.
Okay. And so these public meetings is allowing at least some participation in questioning those things. And so I know it's not solid yet, but certainly, you know, people, voices are important. I'm glad that you're holding these meetings, and that could change what the district has in mind currently, correct?
Thank
you.
ASL
Yes.
Watson, do you mind if I answer? I guess the way I'd look at it is right now, Dr. Williams-Knight wants to hear everyone's voice on the best types of scenarios. There will be a consolidation, but she wants to make sure that that's done as effectively as possible. So right now, the point is to spend time with our stakeholders, make sure that every voice is heard, bring that information back to the board, and then execute a decision based on everything that she's listening to.
Thank you, Ms. Watson.
And so can we make sure that a blast goes out, some sort of a news blast that goes out for this so that people can, that the parents can be informed? I understand that they were sent letters or notification for the parents that are currently in the program, is that right?
Correct. Letters went home, and Principal Cunningham did a School Connects message last week, and she did one today for tomorrow.
Okay, all right, I plan on attending these things, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
I had a thought, Doc.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. So speaking of participation, we have two questions. They're online, they're live right now, regarding the superintendent search. Right? We're excited to do this process, but we're going to have in-person meetings, and we have questionnaires. We want to engage all stakeholders. So we're looking for parents, community members, staff. I'm not sure where it's posted. It's right on our Buffalo School.
Tomorrow, as far as the superintendent search, it will go live. So people can, you know, go to our website, read about what the expectations are, and the survey, that's only 2 questions, will be available as well. Thank you. If nothing else, we will now go to bereavements, and then we will adjourn.
March 11th, Noah C. Whitmore, grandson of Elias Benavides, who is the partner of Kelly Yavernitsky, teacher at School 90 ECC. April 1st, Patrick Revel, father of Jamie Lynn Revel, a teacher assistant at School 69 Houghton Academy. We can just take a moment. Thank you.
Meeting adjourned. Any second by Scott. Any opposed?